Hey there and welcome to Tech Talk here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. I'm Greg Rhodes here with David Levitt, president and founder of Refresh Computer Superstore, and technician Adam Littlefield. You can contact the Refresh Computer Superstore by calling their free tech support hotline at 407-478-8200. Or if you have a comment during the show, we'd love to hear it. Use that open mic feature inside the WDBO app. You can also check out the website over at refreshcomputers.net or stop in at the Refresh Computer Superstore in Longwood at 820 East State Road 434, just 3.5 miles east of I-4 in Longwood. Store hours are Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. And if you're listening to the show here on Saturday, it means you still have time to stop by. They'll be open until 7 p.m. today. And now for David Levitt and Adam Littlefield.
All right. Thanks, Greg. And thanks, everybody, for listening to another edition of Tech Talk with Refresh Computers. This is the Saturday edition, and tomorrow we'll have a whole new show. Can't wait for that to occur. And so today we got a lot of tech stuff to talk about, of course, like we always do. And we're going to start off talking about how there's a new program that Google is involved in, and I call it the GTIG group. The GTIG. It's Google's Threat Intelligence Group, and they confirmed just this week that there's the first known case of criminal hackers using, guess what, AI to discover and weaponize a zero-day software vulnerability. And we'll get into what zero-day is and what that means. And we had a whole show about zero-day vulnerabilities probably a few months ago and what they mean. So we'll talk about that. And we'll also talk about Summer Tech Refresh. Why is now the perfect time to come by your favorite computer store there at Refresh Computers? And then we'll chat about Apple just making texting between iPhones and Androids finally secure.
Took them long enough.
Enough. And what I'm going to tell you about in that segment might just scare you. It is alarming that they never had these texts locked down between the two different platforms. And lockdown, I'll get into what I mean about that and why it was scary. But now they seem to address the issue, finally decided that they're going to take care of it, and they did. We'll talk more about that a little later. And then finally, we'll talk about, the Musk and Altman trial. So who's Elon Musk? I think we all know who Elon Musk is now.
By now, yeah.
Who's Sam Altman? Well, maybe not everybody knows who Sam Altman is, but between Elon and Sam, they founded ChatGPT, basically, the parent company behind that, which is OpenAI. And there's a big lawsuit going on between the two of them now, and we'll talk about where that stands. All right, so let's get into more detail about the first topic of the day, which is Google's Threat Intelligence Group. Again, they confirmed that they prevented the first known case of criminal hackers using AI to discover and weaponize a zero-day software vulnerability, a zero-day attack. And so, what is zero-day? Zero-day is a software flaw that nobody knows about yet. Not the company that's being attacked, not the public, just the hackers. So they find a door, if you will, a gateway to get into something, and they start hacking away, and they can exploit it before anyone can catch it or patch it. And that's, just like finding an unlocked door nobody knew existed. So that's what a zero-day attack is, and it's very serious. It's probably one of the worst types of attacks because nobody's had a chance to patch it.
Right. Like I said, nobody was ready for it. So it's one of those things that comes out when the software first gets shipped out or whatever the program is. And it just happens.
It just happens. So,
and this isn't something new in tech either. There's always been zero-day vulnerabilities like this, but we've never seen it on this level, especially now with AI getting into the masses.
So these hackers, again, we talked about this last week. They are getting smarter. They're using AI tools, and they are making them work. So historically, finding 0 days required, elite, highly skilled workers, right? And a lot of them. And it was rare because it's a rare kind of occurrence, and it's very expensive to try to nail down because they got to nail it down fast. They got to create a patch for it if it's like on an iPhone or something, or maybe in Windows. They have to find a patch, implement the patch, let the world know there's an update. This is, again, we talked about why it's important to go ahead and do those software updates. Right. This is why.
Especially when you see actually critical, it might actually be a critical update that you need.
It would be, even if it doesn't say critical, because a lot of times they're a little sleuthy. They don't want you to know they have some serious issue going on.
Right.
So if you see a software update for your iPhone, your iPad, Windows,
just do it. Just do it.
Just do it. Years ago, we used to suggest to people, don't be the guinea pig.
Yeah.
Don't be the first one to do a Microsoft update, because years ago it was very common for Microsoft updates to go bad,
cause some problems.
A little buggy sometimes. Yeah.
And then they would go, "Whoops, now we fixed it, so the rest of the world you can do your software update." But that's not the case anymore, folks. If you see update available, I can't stress enough. Update.
Yeah.
Just update it as soon as possible, because a lot of those updates are doing what? They are a result of finding and patching one of these zero-day attacks. And so you need to get your computer, your iPhone, your iPad, whatever device, your Chromebook, that they're all successful to these kinds of attacks.
And the thing with 0 days now is, back before we had the dawn of just all this AI explosion that we've had going on, it used to be humans combing through millions of lines of code and looking for just that one spot, that one vulnerability that they can just get into. And that, would take months sometimes for some groups.
And that was on both sides.
Exactly.
You have like what they call like the white hat hackers, the guys that were looking for vulnerabilities to help out these software companies after the release. And then also you have the bad guys too.
Yeah. And heck, even some companies used to offer some bounties to find vulnerabilities in their software and say, hey, we invite people to try and do this. If you find a vulnerability, tell us and we'll pay you. Now it's just you can plug all your code into an AI and it'll read through it and can spit out in 5 minutes if it finds something to take advantage of. That's a little scary now to think how quickly, a software can be vulnerable like that.
So, so what did Google find, right? So they found their security team, which is the Google's Threat Intelligence Group. I didn't even know they had that, the GTIG. So they found that a criminal group, was using AI to identify the flaw, and they built an exploit. So Google used this new group. They blocked it before it could be used at scale, before it could just blow up. But, the warning is very clear. This is happening now. This is happening all the time. So be very vigilant. I mean, you have never been more unsafe on your computer or your iPhone or your Google phone or your Chromebook. If you connect to the internet, you have never been more unsafe than today. You have not, because of AI and what AI is able to do for these hackers. And so you just have to be very, very vigilant. And we talked about before how good they've gotten with tricking you. A lot of these things that just happen with the local school systems here with Compass, right?
Canvas.
Canvas. Canvas. I keep wanting to call it Compass, but it's Canvas being hacked by the shiny hunters and demanding ransom. And we just found out too that, Greg, I found out from you yesterday actually that Orange County paid up.
So the company overall paid up. So
the company, Compass paid up.
Yeah.
I see.
The company that runs Canvas paid up to allow access, because coming up on the end of the school year, all of these different school districts and universities, they needed all that information.
They didn't have grades. Couldn't give grades.
They didn't have really an option, and that was why shiny hunters waited till the time they did to do that hack.
And so they got released, I would imagine.
That's right.
They were,
There was supposed to be some kind of gradual rollout as different districts were allowed to access Canvas once again here over the last week. So,
see, this is a very interesting issue that we're in now with AI being able to pull off stuff like this too. Because just last week, we were talking about how now government is starting to be roped in to authenticate these AIs before they're being released, and this may be a good reason why. Because AI can be used for finding flaws in software already. You don't know what kind of national security risks that may carry in the future.
That's right.
Nobody knows.
Good question. I mean, good point. I mean, it's just so what can you do as a user of all these electronic devices that we've become accustomed to needing?
We can't just cut them out of our lives anymore. Most of our lives revolve around some form of technological device that could be compromised at one point because of something like this.
So, we talked about let your phone update. And let's just go ahead and say do it automatically.
Yep.
Turn on automatic updates on your devices if they're not already turned on. And if you're not sure if your device has automatic updates enabled, that's what the free tech support hotline is for at Refresh Computers. Give us a call. We'll help you out over the phone. That should just take a few minutes, and we'll help you get your device safer. The free tech support hotline number is 407-478-8200. So it's just not automatic updates on your phone and your computer, but your things like your router, your Wi-Fi router in your house and in your business. These things need to be updated all the time. And seriously, folks, do it. Do it today.
Yep.
Don't wait, and give us a call again at 407-478-8200. If you have any questions or don't know how to do it, we'll help you out over the phone.
Well, we always make the joke about the toaster that has internet access.
That's right.
But those toasters that do have internet access probably access your Google account or access some form of main account that you have. So making sure those are up to date as well. Those appliances and things that offer those over-the-air updates, you got to keep those up too.
Those two, TVs,
Yep.
your TVs, the
Smart
photo,
fridges.
and the photo frames.
Your vacuum cleaner.
I
mean,
nobody wants a rogue Roomba coming after them.
Right. And and that would be that's definitely the joke about it, is it's going to take over and just kind of vacuum the wrong spot of your house.
Right.
But again, that's accessing probably some kind of main account that you have access to.
Yeah.
All
of those
your info.
All of those devices are what we call in the tech space endpoints. And if you're a business, endpoint security is one of the major things you have to care about. So as a business, you already care about it. As a consumer, you should start caring about that too.
No, yeah, because that's the back door in. That's the way in. And that's one of the reasons why we promote the antivirus Malwarebytes.
Right.
Malwarebytes Premium, that is. It will help you lock down all those endpoints as well. So it's monitoring not just your phone or your computer, it's monitoring your endpoints for intrusions. And it can help knock those down. So, that's Malwarebytes Premium does a really good job of doing that. Yeah. So, and again, we can't emphasize enough, use strong, unique passwords, or better yet, what we've talked about before, passkeys. If you're not sure how to use a passkey or what a passkey is, we had a whole show about that just a few weeks ago. And you can go to refreshcomputers.net, click on the podcast link up there, and you'll be able to find that show and listen to it. And you'll even be able to, see a brief description of what the show is about and what the passkey is. And it's just important today. So passwords are not enough. You should have a passkey as well. And a lot of times a passkey is just a 4-digit code, just a 4-digit code. So, and it locks down everything that's not connected to that device. So again, and be suspicious of anything unexpected, like, emails, texts, pop-ups, asking you to click or download something. Just don't do it. Go directly to the source. If you get an email saying your Facebook page has been hacked, you just automatically just don't believe it.
Yeah. Or recently, there's actually been a bunch of scam calls going on claiming that they're from the police department. I think Orange County's been having that go on, and Seminole County, and saying, you have a warrant out for your arrest and you need to wire this amount of money. Things like that.
It's happening.
It's happening.
And people are getting duped.
Yep.
So, but I think people are also wising up to the extent that it's, those kinds of hacks are probably getting fewer and far between, but they're still out there. I mean, look, even big companies, Foxconn, that they make the iPhone. They literally make the iPhones. The Chinese company that makes the iPhone, they make devices for Google. They might make devices for NVIDIA. They just got hacked. So that's a whole supply chain issue that can affect millions and millions of devices.
If someone like that large is able to get hit, who else knows who's going to get hit next?
Right. So stay tuned, because coming up, we're going to talk about Summer Tech Refresh and why now is the perfect time to visit Refresh Computers.
You've been listening to Tech Talk right here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Hey there, welcome back to Tech Talk here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. I'm Greg Rhodes here with David Levitt, president and founder of Refresh Computer Superstore, and technician Adam Littlefield. And you can contact the Refresh Computer Superstore by calling their free tech support hotline at 407-478-8200. Or if you have a comment during the show, go and use that open mic feature inside the WDBO app. And now, back to David and Adam.
All right, thanks, Greg, and thanks everybody for listening to Tech Talk with Refresh Computers. We had a very interesting first segment. We talked about Google's new tool that will help prevent hackers using AI to, well, hack you.
Yeah.
to hack your computer and your iPhones and your smart devices and things like that, and why it's important to make sure that you be more vigilant than ever because, today it has never been more serious and more likely that you're going to be hacked than it is right now. And that's thankful to AI. If you have any questions on anything that you think is an issue or a concern, give us a call at the free tech support hotline, 407-478-8200, and we can help you out over the phone, let you know what's going on with what you're seeing in front of you if you think it's something suspicious. So anyway, why summer tech refresh? Why now? Why now? Why is it the perfect time to visit Refresh Computers? Well, always a good time to visit Refresh Computers, I would say. We've been around for 26 plus years, so quite a long time. So a very respected resource for computers and laptops and monitors and peripherals and support service, right? We fix every model. There's not a model of laptop or computer that we don't work on. And so we have the best techs around. So, if you have any kind of issue with your computer, your laptop, or anything like that, you can start out by calling that free tech support hotline, 407-478-8200. You can go to refreshcomputers.net. You can find out a bunch of information right there. We have a chat bot on the site now that you can ask questions, and it'll answer you with it's trained to understand all about Refresh Computers, and so it won't give you a recipe for how to bake a cake.
Exactly. I stress tested that enough before we put it live. So,
which Adam tried to get it to do before we made it live. Yeah, and so it'll just tell you, it can't do that.
Yeah,
I can tell you anything about Refresh Computers. So it's trained to just know about Refresh Computers. So if you have any questions about any products, anything that's on the site, any of our shows that we do, you can ask that chat bot because it's plugged into all that stuff. So what can Refresh Computers do for you? Well, we sell quality refurbished computers from major brands. Yeah. So all the major brands, right? Dell, HP, Lenovo, Apple. They're tested and ready to go.
At really good prices, too. Most of our systems are 50 up to 70% off of what they'd be brand new. Right. Because these machines are still really good machines. They just need a little bit of TLC, and that's exactly what we give them.
And I can tell you, refurbished in a way that it's almost like they're remanufactured is probably a better term. Mm-hmm. And because we put new thermal paste, new button batteries on the motherboards. Nobody does that.
No.
When you see these things in other places, and it's like even some of the name brand places, box stores and stuff that might show refurbished computers now, you don't know what you're getting.
Yeah.
At Refresh Computers, you get a nice, fresh computer. I'm telling you, any computer running Windows 11 that we sell at Refresh Computers is going to last you just as long as any brand new computer you buy today.
Right.
And you're going to save 50 to 60% on the cost of a computer. And another bonus is most of the computers and laptops we sell at Refresh Computers that are refurbished are the business class. So the heavier duty models. It's the type that businesses buy. Why? Because they last longer and they do, they perform better.
Right.
So it's just a smart money move to buy a refurbished computer from Refresh Computers.
Especially with all of the prices going up now because of AI buying up, materials. Our prices are still as low as ever. So
they are. They're great. And guess what? we just announced free shipping for any orders over $300.
Oh, what a great deal.
That's brand new. So if you live out of the area, or maybe it's just not convenient to get to the store.
And to grab that deal, make sure to check out the website there at refreshcomputers.net. Or if you're in the area, stop in at the Refresh Computer Superstore there in Longwood. You've been listening to Tech Talk right here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Hey there, and welcome to Tech Talk here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. I'm Greg Rhodes here with David Levitt, president and founder of Refresh Computer Superstore, and technician Adam Littlefield. You can contact the Refresh Computer Superstore by calling their free tech support hotline at 407-478-8200. Or if you have a comment during the show, we'd love to hear it. Use that open mic feature inside the WDBO app. You can also check out the website over at refreshcomputers.net, or stop at the Refresh Computer Superstore in Longwood at 820 East State Road 434, just 3.5 miles east of I-4 in Longwood. Store hours are Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. If you're listening to the show here on Saturday, it means you still have time to stop by. They'll be open until 7 p.m. today. Now, for the men themselves, David Levitt and Adam Littlefield.
All right. Thanks, Greg. And thank you, Adam, for being here also. And thank you for listening to Tech Talk with Refresh Computers. We talked about a new tool that Google came out with to help AI discover breaches, right?
Zero day vulnerabilities.
Zero days vulnerabilities. And we talked about what that is. These are the types of attacks that happen before anybody knows they happened, except for the hackers themselves, before anybody has a chance to fix them. Those are called 0 days. And Google developed this software using, guess what, AI, to help find these things and patch them up quickly, to delete them, get them out of the system quickly, faster than ever, faster than any humans can possibly do. And so what would take probably 50 programmers sitting around trying to, bounce ideas back and forth on how to get rid of this 0 day attack can now be done almost instantaneously by AI. So it's a pretty cool tool that Google came out with. We also talked about the new free shipping program that Refresh Computers has. Any purchase on the website that is over $300 is free shipping anywhere in the continental USA. So maybe you just live across town. You already know Refresh Computers. You know that we've been around for 26 years, a trusted source. And maybe you just don't want to drive all the way across the town like a lot of people do anyway. Yeah. And, just order that online, your computer. It could be more than one device too. I mean, it could be any number of devices that total $300 or more. Then you will get free shipping on those. So we're excited to be able to offer that now. So in this segment, we want to talk about something that I think probably, maybe we should have started the show off with, because this is like
this is big.
One of the biggest tech news items that you probably didn't know about, right? That's out there. And that is what Apple finally was able to do, what they finally did. They've been able to do it, but what they finally allowed is the texting between iPhones and Androids, which has been going on. Of course, you've been able to do that, but it's never been secure.
It's always been SMS or MMS. That's it.
It's never been secure. And so, when you hear me talk about, being connected to public Wi-Fi systems, like at your local coffee shop or at your favorite RV park or, places like that, and warning, that these are not safe places because they can be so easily hacked. Those types of text messages between Apple devices and Chrome or Google devices or any other device that sends and receives text were not encrypted. Yeah. Which means they could be intercepted very easily. I mean, you still get them, but you don't know somebody else is getting them also.
Somebody's reading the paper as you pass it between spots.
Yes. And so when people share things like passwords to accounts via text, these kinds of things, which you should never do anyway, but people do because it's a quick, convenient way to do that, right? And so these hackers it's pretty easy for them to get that, or it was pretty easy until just very recently, because just this week with Apple release iOS 26.5, so you can check your iPhone. If you don't have 26.5, go ahead and update it. And we just talked about earlier that, hey, another reason to just go ahead and update now, as soon as possible, when there is a new update, is because it's there to make your phone more secure.
Yep.
So you just go ahead and do that. So it has what they call end-to-end encryption. So it's enabled by default now too. So as soon as that new Apple iOS is uploaded and installed on your phone, it will automatically be doing these messages. It's called RCS messaging,
Right.
as opposed to SMS.
Yeah. And
Right.
just the other day, I have one of my friends that I text regularly. I know he has an iPhone, I have an Android, and it popped up in the top of my chat one day. This chat is encrypted and protected by RCS.
Right.
And immediately I'm just like, whoa, that's different because, me, I always knew Apple and Android, there was this big friction between them. They never wanted to work with one another.
didn't.
Apple was so into that idea. And if you told kid me 15 years ago that Androids and Apple would be able to communicate with encryption over RCS, I would have never believed it then.
Yeah. Well, and it's been possible for
It has
quite
been.
some time.
Yeah.
Right.
And Apple's just been slow.
That's
to
the thing. They've
figure
been
that
rather
out.
stubborn about it.
They have been. And because, we had this, you have a term for what Apple does. Everything in Apple stays in Apple.
It's the walled garden
The
idea.
walled garden. Yeah. And I think that's Apple's term,
It
right?
is, yep.
And so, they're just so bullheaded about that walled garden idea that,
Yeah.
everything stays Apple, that they weren't willing to make your text secure. That's terrible.
Right.
They weren't willing until now. They finally bowed down and decided, you know what? This is better for society if we do this.
Right.
It's just, let's just make them secure.
And we've even seen some social media platforms are starting to adapt this. I know Meta with, I believe, Facebook Messenger and Instagram messaging, they're starting to offer encryption on those chats.
They've utilized their WhatsApp platform. To
Exactly.
That's right.
Use that encryption.
WhatsApp,
Yep.
yeah.
X as well
Signal,
is
they use
using that.
all kinds of other types of chatting because it's more secure.
Yeah, if
So-
the social media apps are starting to do it, why aren't bigger companies like Apple and Android doing it? And I think that's what led to this point here.
Every other medium to text people is encrypted.
Yeah.
This was the last one.
This was the last straw that people had to be able to steal stuff like this.
Messenger on Facebook,
Yep.
encrypted, right? WhatsApp, encrypted. Signal, encrypted. Telegram, encrypted. They're all encrypted. And heck, what helped make Telegram and Signal even get the customers they have more than anything else was the fact that Apple wasn't.
Yeah.
When it was trying, so they called that, like the green bubble problem. So, when you either get a blue bubble or a green bubble, and they mean different things. And the blue bubble, by the way, means it is encrypted. So if you see the little blue bubble there in your text there, it's encrypted.
And that's a whole different form of messaging too, because I've mentioned SMS, which is just normal unencrypted messages. We've got RCS, which is now encrypted between
Right.
Apple, Android, all of that. And then there was also iMessage.
Right.
That was a service completely ran by Apple, and because it's ran by Apple, it's encrypted by Apple.
Yeah, but that's only between Apple devices.
Exactly.
Right. That's why I, as an Android user, popped up as a green text message to Dave whenever he would message
That's right.
me.
Right.
And that was iPhone's fault, not the Android's.
No,
not
not
the
the
Android
Android.
people's fault. That was the iPhone people's fault. Just so we get that clear. It's been such a strain on the relationship between iPhone people and Android people.
Yeah.
We can now become in harmony. But I wonder, are they going to keep the green messaging for Android people just to kind of maintain the the idea of
appearance.
separate but equal, right?
I don't think so. I don't know. I see it going away. I hope it does. I hope it's all blue bubbles. Blue bubble. I mean, it's encrypted, and usually when you see the blue bubble in your messages, that means you have been texting back and forth to somebody else that has an iPhone.
Yeah.
Right.
That's pretty much what that means. I think a lot of people probably weren't aware of that. So RCS is supposed to fix this. So the old way of texting, SMS and MMS. That's the old technology because it's not encrypted, right? So it's like sending a postcard anyone can read, right? It's like sending a postcard through the mail. Everybody that touches it can read it, on its way to your door.
Right.
And if you're in an RV park somewhere or in a coffee shop somewhere and you're sending an SMS, it's so easy to hack, to get into, to see your messages.
Yeah.
Because they're not encrypted. They're just straight text.
Yeah, and I know even like the EU, they've been kind of taking the bigger picture on all this privacy stuff, especially with social media and how things are designed with that now. And we, talking a lot about privacy with that. There's algorithms built into social media that track the kind of the content that you want to be seeing, right?
Right.
They know what you want to see. And the EU, they've been cracking down on a lot of that addictive stuff now.
They have been, and some other things that we're going to talk about, I think, tomorrow's show.
Yeah.
That the EU is doing. That's kind of one of the things that I'm kind of agreeing with on government intervention, because sometimes it's the government's there to help protect you, and some of these things, and we'll talk about that in tomorrow's show. But something else just to listen out for. So Android is getting a big AI overhaul also, right? So Google announced Android is getting probably their biggest AI update, right, in 2026. So it's Gemini integration throughout the whole operating system. We talked a little bit about that yesterday on or last week on your computer, right? And what Google did to, they put that 4 gig file right on your computer, and that was a way they got AI.
Yeah, something
on your computer.
On your device.
So, it could be good, could be creepy, maybe both. But you know what? It's here. It's coming, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. I've been playing a little bit around with it because having one of the newer Samsung devices, it has Gemini on device. So I've given it access to calendar stuff, to my email, just to kind of see what it's capable of doing. And as far as, I've been using it, it's been helpful. Yeah. It's been helping just getting everything organized, and it's way better than filling my calendar full of events as reminders, because that's what I used to do. Yeah. My calendar was always full of, pick this up from the store at 12 noon on like Sunday. Now it's just Gemini will push me a notification.
Well, and I use it too for like finding events, finding things, because, my calendar gets pretty full.
Yeah.
And there's might be some things I need to know when and where from 3 months ago. Right. And so Gemini is a really good tool for that. Yeah. Right. So it'll you don't have to. The old way is open up your calendar, click on each day, see what was there, until you found it. You knew it was around this week or this other week, and so you have to click on every day within that time period. But you don't have to do that kind of thing anymore with the new AI tools in Gemini.
I'll say I've been a little disappointed with the integration of it, though, coming over from... I've been using Google Assistant on mine for a while. And I had a couple of different interactions that I liked it to have throughout the day. So I would ask it specifically this thing, and it would run these specific programs for me. Yeah. It did not integrate very well passing over. So now I'm having to go and try and figure out how to get Gemini to now react in the same way that the assistant did. It's not working out as well as I would have liked so far.
Well, and and I get your point, Greg, because I feel the same way. And also, Google with Gemini, because Gemini is Google's AI. It's Google's ChatGPT. It's Google's Grok, right? It's the agent or the chat bot that Google uses for AI, so you can interact with it and get information. They were very slow, and still they need to catch up with the others, right? And I suspect one of the reasons that Google was very slow in the very beginning of all this, I mean, they were always seem to be the last to catch up. One is, hey, it's a big company already. It's huge, so we all know that, the bigger the company they are,
it's the whole alphabet.
The whole alphabet, right? And so they're just a little slower to integrate things because of their size, where they're not innovating as much as new startups like the ChatGPT folks and things like that, and Anthropic with Claude and all that. So these folks have these people just going full steam ahead, innovating, doing things, and Google's kind of left behind a little bit. But another reason, I suspect anyway, that Google was slow, especially in the beginning, to respond to getting their own AI tool out there and fine-tuned, is because think of the massive amount of revenue, ad revenue, that's slipping through the fingers of Google.
Yeah.
I mean, because how many of you businesses out there have been paying for Google ads that you probably don't need to be paying for anymore?
We've talked a lot about AI here on the show. What has been your experience with AI? Let us know. Use that open mic feature in the WDBO app. Do you enjoy it? Is there some questions that you still have on it? We'd love to be able to tackle some of those questions for you. Again, use that open mic feature inside the WDBO app. Coming up, we're going to talk a little bit more about Elon Musk and Sam Altman and their trial. You'll have that update for you coming up next here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. And welcome back to Tech Talk here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. I'm Greg Rhodes here with David Levitt, president and founder of Refresh Computer Superstore, and technician Adam Littlefield. And you can contact the Refresh Computer Superstore by calling their free tech support hotline at 407-478-8200. Also, check out their website over at refreshcomputers.net. And now, back to David and Adam.
All right. Thanks, Greg. And thanks, everybody, for listening to Tech Talk with Refresh Computers. Keep in mind that if you missed any part of the show, or maybe you want to recap what we talked about, you can go to refreshcomputers.net, click on that podcast link at the top of the page, and you'll be able to hear this show in its entirety. Also, while you're at it, while you're on the page, go ahead and scroll down to the bottom of the page, enter your email address, and click send. That's all you have to do. We're not asking for your name. We're not asking for your phone number or anything else. Just your email address, and that will sign you up to get notifications via email, of course, when a new show has been published, and you'll be able to just click on that email and go right to the show and listen to the show in its entirety. And there's a nice summary in the email also now that describes a little bit, bullet points of what the show is about. So in this last segment, we want to talk about the Musk man against the Altman. I don't know. So Mr. Musk and Mr. Altman are, in cahoot, or they're not agreeing with each other so much.
Heads a little bit.
Yeah, button heads. There you go. I started saying cahoots, but it's not it. It's the opposite. And they are, Musk is suing Altman because of what Musk is saying, that Altman took the idea that Musk had with OpenAI, ChatGPT, right, which is probably the world's most famous, most popular.
Was one of the
AI
first
app,
ones.
One of the first ones. And that was actually Musk helped develop that as a free tool, according to Musk. So it was supposed to be open source, free to use, no charges, no fees. And it was like the next best thing, which, well, it was the next best thing as far as internet and technology is concerned. And Sam Altman was his partner in that. So Musk bowed out of OpenAI. So, and, under what terms and agreement do you know, Greg? Or
I don't
I'm
know.
not sure
they've
exactly.
They've been kind of closed off about what exactly were the reasons that he left. I know a lot of it was to focus more on Grok and starting up his own program with it.
Yeah, exactly. But so what happened was Sam Altman decided that he was going to make this a for-profit company, and that's what he's doing. So Musk is suing, claiming they broke their founding agreement, right? That it was supposed to stay nonprofit. So what's going on? So, Grok is losing ground.
Yeah.
It is. And when we started talking about AI, I love Grok, and I still like Grok quite a bit. But it's losing a lot of ground. It dropped from like 20 million downloads in January to like just 8.3 downloads in April. And that's a pretty rapid decline in number of downloads. That's not like the number of users. That's just how many times it was downloaded. So it's still popular, obvious, still being downloaded, still being used a lot. And I suspect a lot of that has to do with a lot of, word of mouth about Claude. I mean, you hear me talk about Claude all the time now. And because the word of mouth spreads like wildfire, and the whole tech world likes Claude. They just do. It just seems to be a little bit smoother.
I wonder if it has something to do with some of the restrictions that they've placed on Grok on X itself as well. So if you go on there, you used to be able to ask Grok a question during a post and things like that. Now that's only for verified users on X as opposed to access to everyone. So I wonder if that might have something to do with it too.
And there's a lot of rate limiting I've noticed now too. You know, you use free versions of Grok. I've gone on there, I haven't used it in days, and I'll ask it one question. It says, "You've reached your limit for today." Well, I've never even asked you anything today, but thanks for pushing me out the door.
Some of it might have to be with how, with Elon, he made Grok kind of cutesy. You got extreme modes and all this stuff, and
kid mode,
and I mean, it was
that.
fun. It's like a toy, as opposed to a tool. And so, and I think that might be one reason. I don't use those extreme modes in Grok because it's not a toy for me. So I think that's all we have time for, folks, today. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. We have a fresh show. We're going to talk about all kinds of really cool things, including social media being completely redesigned. A lot of that has to do with Europe and why. We're going to dig deep into that tomorrow morning.